The source claims it was done in such a way that the original laws became, for all practical purposes, impossible to actually perform.
So, if that was the goal, how exactly was it supposedly done? I mean, how do you make a commandment just go away? This brings us to what the source calls the methods of cancellation.
According to the source, this wasn't some haphazard thing. It was a multi-pronged strategy, almost like a playbook for nullification. First, you reinterpret what a law actually means. If that doesn't work, you just add so many crazy, specific conditions that the law could never, ever apply in real life. The third tool in the toolbox? Create legal workarounds, these, well, fictions. And finally, if all else fails, you just declare a law as no longer applicable for our times.
Now, you can't make a claim that big without some evidence, right? Our source doesn't just make a broad statement, it tries to back it up with a long list of specific examples. So let's see how this argument gets built, piece by piece.
An eye for an eye is probably the most famous example of that first technique, reinterpretation. I mean, the written text seems pretty straightforward, right? It sounds like literal physical justice, but the oral law completely transforms it into a system of financial payment. From the source's point of view, that isn't an explanation. It's a total replacement of the original law's intent.
This table shows just a fraction of the examples that the source brings up. Let's just look at a few. Take the law of the rebellious son. The argument here is that the sages piled on so many detailed, almost ridiculous conditions about his age, the exact circumstances, what his parents had to do simultaneously, that it could never actually happen. Or how about the sabbatical debt release? It's a biblical law meant to be a financial reset button every 7 years. Well, it was bypassed using a legal document called a prosbul, which basically let lenders collect the debt anyway. From declaring some laws inapplicable to adding new requirements for others, the claim is that each one of these was a deliberate move to get around the original law.
And believe me, the list just keeps going, touching on pretty much every part of life. The source points to the commandment to wear a blue thread, tekalit. The claim is this was nullified by insisting the dye had to come from one specific, super rare snail, a creature so mysterious its identity was lost for centuries, making the whole thing impossible. Another one is the owner of an ox that kills someone. The Torah prescribes a death penalty, but that gets reinterpreted as a divine punishment, taking it out of the hands of a human court. When you add in the claim that the pronunciation of God's name was deliberately stopped, while the source argues the cumulative effect is a near-total rewrite of the biblical legal code.
Okay, but if you think those examples were a big deal, the next claim in our source material, this one goes beyond individual laws to something way more fundamental.